In 2018, Monster Hunter World released to critical acclaim, and it was the beginning of Monster Hunter's mainstream success that it's enjoyed for the past 3 years. As the highest selling game in the series with 20 million copies, Monster Hunter was officially in the public eye, and for good reason. Shortly after World, Capcom dropped the Iceborne expansion, which simply added on to an already phenomenal game. And finally, about a year later, they would release a new game for the Switch, Monster Hunter Rise. Rise released and sold 4 million copies in its opening weekend alone, and as of today has sold 7 million copies. This number is sure to rise as the PC release is coming in January. So the future of this series is looking pretty bright, but none of this success would have been possible without one key mechanic. Each and every great video game has its special mechanic that ties its gameplay together. Celeste, for example, has Madeline's dash ability, while Kingdom Hearts has Sora's iconic Keyblade. It's these central mechanics that elevate a game's combat or just general gameplay to a totally different level than what it could have been without them. So what does Monster Hunter have? What is the secret to Monster Hunter's success? Well, while each game has its 1 or 2 mechanics that make it special, Monster Hunter has 14. More specifically, 14 different weapon classes. When playing a video game, you're bound to get bored eventually. Regardless of the genre, you'll get tired of doing the same things over and over. The best games often circumvent this problem in clever ways, from allowing for optimal play with their movement to procedural generation and player freedom, leading to effectively infinite possibilities. In Monster Hunter, it's weapons that are the reason people can drop thousands of hours into these games. Each weapon has its own unique playstyle that changes the game dramatically. A simple YouTube search reveals just how complex these weapons are, as there are dozens of videos that are all well over 20 minutes that are just tutorials on one weapon. You could build an entire game around any one of them. My personal favorite is the Switch Axe, a hybrid that allows the use of a heavy-hitting sword and, as the name implies, a wide-reaching axe. While the sword does do a lot more damage, it's limited in both how you can use it and its evasive capabilities. You can only swing so much before your sword runs out of energy. So this weapon is all about balancing the sword and the axe, and because both modes are viable, you can switch between them however you like. Another weapon is the longsword. This weapon is all about counters and big hits. But that's not all the longsword has to offer. You see, with certain hits you can level up this gauge on the top right, allowing for even more damage. The Switch Axe and longsword aren't outliers either. Each weapon in this game is just like this. They all have their own combos, strengths, weaknesses, and specialties. It's due to the exceptional complexity of each and every weapon that just switching to a different one can feel like starting a totally new game. Furthermore, because all of these weapons are so unique, you're bound to find one that fits your personal playstyle. Whether it be the lumbering greatsword or the lightning-fast dual blades, the weapons you choose are up to you. If it was just these 14 weapons, it wouldn't be enough. The monsters have to be just as engaging as the weapons you use to defeat them. Through years of refinement, Capcom has been able to create a roster of all-stars that's not only balanced but challenging and engaging. A large part of this is because of the personality of each and every monster. Just like the weapons, no two monsters are the same. The Rathalos, for example, focuses on combining aerial attacks with volleys of fireballs, while the nimble Nargacuga springs about the battlefield in an attempt to catch you off guard. You need to learn these monsters' patterns in order to best punish them, especially when it comes to the bigger attacks that you can use. The brilliant part of this is that when the monster does a huge signature move and you dodge it just right, they leave themselves wide open, allowing for you to deliver your own signature attack right back at them. Look at the Barioth. See that tell right there? That's how you know he's about to do his big attack. And notice that immediately after this attack, he sits still for a moment. That's your chance. Of course, you have to be careful not to get too close. These monsters are all designed around the weapons of the game perfectly, so that each weapon can be used to defeat them with equal efficiency. Monster Hunter has seen niche success for well over a decade. But now that it's in the public eye, it won't fall anytime soon. It's a fantastic series with exceptional combat that stands with the likes of Dark Souls and Devil May Cry. Monster Hunter is infinitely replayable with satisfying flashy combat that you can play in your own way. And it's all thanks to these 14 specialized tools that help you slay any beast that stands in your way.